There's no point in trying to deny it anymore. We are in a recession. Finding a new job in a recession is not easy, but it can be done. Companies are hiring. Companies hire every single day. I've got a 7-point plan that I'm going to share with you that will definitely make it easier and hopefully get you back working before you know it. Come on, let's go figure this out. Darren DeLuca here. Welcome to the Ramblin' Recruiter and welcome to my kitchen and the start of week 4 of lockdown. We're all starting to go a little bit stir crazy here, but we're all healthy and doing well. I hope you are healthy and doing well also. When trying to find a new job in a recession, you may be tempted to employ this type of strategy. Throwing as much spaghetti at the wall as you can, hoping and praying that some of it sticks. Makes sense, right? The more spaghetti you throw at the wall, the better chance you have of at least one noodle sticking, right? The more you pour into that funnel at the top, the more should drip out the bottom, right? As counterintuitive as it sounds, this is actually a bad strategy to go with during a recession. You'd want to try something a little bit more like this. If you're not into the whole military analogy, think of it like a surgeon. And that is actually tip number 1. Pick and choose your targets. Want to network with me and other serious job seekers? Join my LinkedIn group. It's totally free. It's a great place to connect, to network, and to hear about awesome opportunities. Links below in the description. I hope to see you over there. Seriously, don't go spamming your resume all over the world and back. Focus on a smaller list of companies. Make a top 10 list from LinkedIn, the top 10 companies I'd most like to work for, and then start using LinkedIn to uncover connections that you may have there. Former coworkers, friends, family, people who graduated the same school as you did, people who are into the same hobbies that you are. You can get all of this information off of LinkedIn and use that as a door opener to get referrals. In a recession, your chances go up exponentially when you have a referral or when you know somebody who works at that company. So make that small targeted list and start with that. The thing you have to keep in mind is that your targeted list of companies you'd most like to work for may not actually be hiring right now. They may be deeply impacted by the recession, so you may need to pivot on that depending on how things go. Subscribe if you want to see more like this and click the bell so you never miss a new video again. Number 2, concentrate on growth industries. In any recession, just like in any up economy, there are companies who are winners and there are companies who are losers. There are companies who, because of everything that's happening in the world right now, are significantly benefiting. Companies like Amazon, who's looking to hire over 100,000 people, CVS, who's looking to hire 50,000 people, and other companies in retail, specialty retail, delivery, logistics, supply chain, and other types of businesses that are going to benefit from the changes that we're seeing right now. I know what you're thinking. Oh, Amazon's looking to hire 100,000 people for their fulfillment centers. Yes, they will be hiring a significant amount of warehouse type workers. But guess what? Just like in the military, where it takes 10 support troops just to keep one infantryman in the field, it takes support personnel to keep one person working in that fulfillment center. You need finance people, you need HR people, you need legal people, you need other types of employees. So don't think just because they're hiring a lot of warehouse associates that's the only thing they'll be hiring. I guarantee you they need the support personnel to keep those people going. Listen, if you were going fishing, you'd want to drop your line in the water where the fish were, right? So focus on those growth industries, the companies who are winners as a result of these changes that have happened to us so quickly. Tip number 3, work with your network. If you haven't seen it already, you need to check out my video on finding unadvertised jobs. I'll link to it up here. But during a recession, in a down market where companies are significantly slowing down on their hiring, they're taking their time to fill positions, and quite frankly, a lot of the positions that you see out there on the job boards aren't necessarily going to be real or need to be filled immediately. It's so beneficial to have a referral into a company. Work your networks Make phone calls, send emails, do Zoom meetings. Use the people in your network as stepping stones to get to the people who make decisions at the companies you want to work for. When I interviewed with my current employer, I did not just apply to the role I saw posted online. The first thing I did was go through all my contacts on LinkedIn and found out that somebody who I knew pretty well was a first-degree connection to the hiring manager. That's the way you get around the applicant tracking systems. That's how you beat the bots. That's how you get your resume up to the top of the pile. Use your networks to get you closer to those people that can make decisions. Number 4, sell yourself. Now is the time to highly lean on those elevator pitches and those unique value propositions. I will link to those videos up here as well as below in the description, because I think it's really important that you fully understand how to sell yourself without coming across like a sleazy used car salesman. Okay, a unique value proposition are those things that separate you from everybody else in the crowd. What makes you great? What makes you the person for the job? When a hiring manager asks you, why should I hire you? That's why he or she should hire you, because of your unique value proposition. If you're just applying to jobs blindly on Indeed or LinkedIn or Monster, you're going to be so frustrated because you're going to send so many resumes out and get so few responses. And the ones that you do get are likely to only be from staffing firms, and they're not going to be live, active right now jobs. Tip number 5, consider freelance, temp, contract, or gig work. During a down economy like we're in right now, so many of the decisions we make are driven by finances, right? We're trying to protect those we love. We're trying to protect our homes, our cars, our rent payments, our mortgage payments, and being in a position where you can, number 1, bring some money in the door, and number 2, close that gap on your resume a lot faster than somebody else who says, you know what, I'm not interested in that type of work. It's something to very strongly consider. Now, normally I think she's a total charlatan, but in this case, I would actually recommend that you check out Liz Ryan. She's one of the self-proclaimed career experts out there on LinkedIn, but she does have some really interesting thoughts on how you can build up a consulting business practice around what it is that you do and bring money in the door and make networking connections at the same time. She encourages you to do this while looking for a job and encourages you to work this into your resume as if it was intentional. Like I say, for the most part, I believe she's a charlatan, but in this area, I think she's 100% correct. What do I mean when I say consulting work? Well, think of it this way. Let's say you were a business-to-business sales rep for consumer electronics. You might consider becoming a small dealer. In my case, I'm a recruiter. I work for one specific company. I might consider reaching out to 100 different companies and asking if I can assist with their recruiting work. That's how you build contacts. That's how you build up a networking pool, and you'd be surprised at how many responses you get, especially when you know how to sell yourself using a unique value proposition and a really well-defined 30-second elevator pitch. If you're not sure about all this and you don't feel like you're ready to completely strike out on your own, that's fine. Register with a temp staffing firm like a Robert Half or an Adecco, Account Temps, Manpower, something along those lines. They can pretty frequently set you up with short to intermediate term temp work that, again, will keep the money coming in, will keep that resume gap to a minimum, keep your skills sharp, keep you working, in the groove, in the routine. These are all positives. You never know, something may develop into a full-time role. It happened for me. I actually accepted a contract role with Johnson & Johnson way back in 2011. I actually left a full-time permanent position with a recruitment agency to become a contractor, which was a little bit of a risky move. I had no paid time off, no benefits, but I was making pretty good money. And after about 18 months, they converted me over to full-time. So it does happen. Full-time opportunities can be found that way. Once somebody is in the role, it's much harder to dislodge them. It's so much easier to convert a contractor. Number 6, sweat the small stuff. Do sweat it. Now's not the time to be sending out a template cover letter that has a mistake on it, or it has a wrong company name on it, or a resume with a typo, a grammatical error, or even the smallest little mistake. Now is the time to make sure that your stuff is all buttoned up 100%. Look, in this economy, in this market, you are likely to be competing against many other job seekers, and you'll be in a situation where there are so many well-qualified people applying for each job that recruiters start having a hard time determining who should go forward, because everybody looks great. During the 2008 recession, I was working for a recruiting agency. The candidates that I had in my book and that were calling me daily were so good and what we called most placeable applicants that if I had had them 2 years earlier, I'd be making this video from a yacht right now. That's how competitive the job market is likely to get. So when you're in a situation like that where it's so difficult to differentiate between one candidate and another because they're all great, you start really nitpicking on the small things like, oh, this person has a typo on their resume. This one sent me a cover letter that has the wrong name on it. Little mistakes like that can cost you everything at a time like this. If you are looking for some advice on how to write a cover letter that's going to get you an interview, especially when you're using it in a networking capacity, check out the video linked up here. I think you're going to find that very, very informative. Number 7, stay positive. Look, I know it's hard. If you've lost your job as a result of recent developments, now you're stuck in the house and you can't go anywhere and not that many companies are hiring, and even if you could find a company hiring, which you can, it's tough. You would then have to go out and potentially put yourself and your family at risk of what's going on out there now. I totally understand how easy it is to very quickly get discouraged. You've got to try to stay positive for a number of reasons. Number one, nobody ever had negative thoughts, a negative outlook, but had positive things happen to them. It just doesn't work that way. Number two, job searching is frustrating even during the best of times. If during the worst of times you don't force yourself to stay positive, look for the silver linings, you're going to go crazy, because you're going to get interviews and then find out that the role is canceled, or you'll be sitting by the phone waiting for them to call you to tell you they're making you an offer because that's how good it looked, and suddenly you find out there's an internal candidate. These things are going to happen to you. Stay positive. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. Nobody wants to hire a desperate candidate. Nobody wants to hire a bitter candidate or a candidate who's obviously very frustrated. Desperation is not an admirable trait. It's not something that people want to hire. Now, a great way to stay positive, even when things are rough, is to make a gratitude list. I know this sounds a little hokey, I know, but it works, trust me. Grab yourself a notebook and a pen, sit down in a nice quiet room somewhere, and write at the top of the page, I am grateful for. Go to the next line. Start from there. Before you know it, you're going to have an entire page filled on that notebook, maybe more. Now here's the for real. There's a chance you are going to have to take a job that is not up to your skills. It's not up to your level of experience. It's not up to your previous salary. All of us have had to swallow our pride at some point and put food on the table, and there's nothing wrong with that. Look, during the 2008 recession, I've been through this twice. I've been through this in 2001, and I've been through this in 2008. During the 2008 recession, I was working nights at the grocery store in the frozen section just to keep making ends meet because my business dried up to almost nothing. You should be proud of the fact that you're willing to do that for the people you care about. If you want to see some tips on finding a job fast, and I do mean like really fast, 1 to 2 weeks, check out the video that I've got linked over here. The video that's over here is the one YouTube thinks you're going to like the best, and they're pretty much always right about that, so check it out. Enjoy the rest of your job-seeking day. Hang in there. It's going to get better. Stay safe, stay well, stay home, and stay classy, YouTube. See you next time. You dig?